Welcome aboard for another video.
Thanks, Conductor Keith. The purpose of this video is to show you how I made removable Kadee couplers to fit on this AccuCraft Live Steam Shay. I show in a previous video how I added radio control to this locomotive. I operate this small industrial loop here in my garage as if it's a real industrial loop. I have switch lists and I switch incoming and outcoming cars around to industry. Normally I use my Mammoth Bolton or another radio controlled diesel for that purpose, but I do like to do it with live steam as well, so I needed Kadee couplers for this particular locomotive. If you saw my previous video on adding a coupler to this Shay locomotive, you would have seen that I took the links that came with the locomotive and screwed them on either side of this modified plastic AccuCraft coupler. That was a temporary measure. During the coming year, I plan on converting all of my large-scale trains to Kadee couplers for ease of coupling and uncoupling, because I do operations. I use switch lists. I operate this industrial loop as realistically as possible. So ultimately, I wanted to mount a Kadee in there. Now, I know that you can unscrew this and you can buy a Kadee coupler that screws right on here, the plate and all. But then I would lose the ability to have the links and pins, which I want to keep. Enter this package of Kadee 907. So it's the Kadee 907 coupler set, okay? And you can see down there how they're supposed to be mounted, truck-mounted couplers and all that. But I worked out that I needed them so that the coupler shank came out in the center of the coupler. I have lots and lots of this metal, this steel, that is the top, the case of an old VHS machine that's been scrapped. I use tin snips. I've used that VHS machine for many, many things. In keeping with the nature of the Pencross Railway of Eastern Ontario and its, really razor thin budget, I want whatever I do to look extremely homemade. So how did I go from this to this? So step one is I cut each side of that off, as you can see right there. I then used the snips to carefully cut pieces of metal until it was right and in there, and then I scratched where I would drill the hole. Crude though it looks, this is how it turned out. And I found this brass screw set that I have there. Underneath these pieces of metal, there's a dabble of super glue or CA glue. And also underneath this nut. So that's all pretty solid there now. And given that I use a hand pick to uncouple, I don't need these fake looking things there. I haven't cut that one off of there yet, but I will. So I cut that off. Now what we're left with is this piece that just goes in there. And I'm trying to keep it out of the way of the camera here. My original plan was to use small pieces of Meccano. That would have been easier. If you have it, use it. But since our move, I can't find it. I actually discovered that I'm out of flat black, but I do have flat rubber, which is kind of a brownie rubber. However, using these pieces of metal and this paint does go along with my notion that this is a backwoods, cash-poor railway. There, painted. Doesn't look too bad. And while I was at it, I also painted the bits of the RC there so you don't see it as much. So there's the first coupler I did, and here's the one I just did. Yeah, very backwoods, but now I'm going to paint it. All right, so I've got the Shay lit up. We're going to heat the engine for a live steam run. I've got 2 rail cars on there that I've already body mounted some Kadee couplers, so I can show you the possibilities of switching with this locomotive, but also with the Kadees. This rail car is going to go right there, and this rail car is going to go right there. This means I'm going to have to come along and uncouple that rail car and leave it over there to put that flat back in that siding. And then I'm going to use the industrial loop as a runaround track, run the steam locomotive all around and push the boxcar into here. When doing my research, I've discovered that in history there are some examples of loops, industrial loops, very tight, small industrial loops where a track comes in from the rest of the world, like that one goes to staging, and the loop itself then becomes the runaround track as well. Just gonna do a little test to see that the radio's working, and it is. All right, so the train is entering from staging.
Oh, Henry, I think we're going to see that Shay locomotive used a lot more around here. Yes, indeed, Marge, indeed, yes.
All right, for our first move, we need to put the flat car back here. That's easy enough. We just come up here and we stop. We reach in here and we undo this. Right here like that. Pull the locomotive ahead. Whoops, that's backwards. There you go, see? You get to see some behind the scenes what Terry's up to. Head, and then come back there. And do it right there somewhere. And just use my scoop screwdriver there to do that. And now, of course, we've got to do a whole runaround.
Well, here's the Friar at his usual spot, hoping you're all subscribed and that you like this video.
So we move up here, and our conductor's walking ahead anyway, and switching that, and switching that. So then we move on ahead up here, bring the boxcar in. There we go. Reach in with, this is just a different screwdriver. I find any old screwdriver works here for Kadee's, you know. Just put it in and twist. And then, I keep turning the dial the wrong way. I'm conscious, see, because the camera's on. But there you go. So now the locomotive can carry on its way to some other place to do more switching. Simple as that. If I had someone here to operate as a conductor that could handle the switch list, we could bring a full train in here and we could use the Shay. Thing is, the Shay is a live steam locomotive. It's better with a live steam locomotive to have a two-man crew or two-woman crew, so that, you know, one person is the conductor and handling the movements and all that, and the other one just minds the engine. I hope you found this video useful, and as ever, I always welcome your comments.